What is happening, guys? My name is Jamie. Welcome back to Review Nation. Well, you know what, guys, you clicked on the thumbnail and you're wondering what the best albums for the first week of August. Well, yeah, I've checked out 4 albums from the newly releases this weekend. The music has been pretty good. And so I checked out 4 albums and I'm going to do basically a speedy review for you. And to see maybe you guys can get into the bands as well. First of all, shout out to my lovely patrons on Patreon. The Review Nation is basically a review show where I just review albums for you, tell you the bits, the best moments and the best parts of the album, and then you decide whether you want to listen to the album or not. But let's now get on with the first album, and it's none other than our Aussie band Lord. Lord is an Australian metal band that produces unbelievable music. I've reacted to 2 songs. I mean, they incorporate power metal along with symphonics at times. But then they are very, very good at this stuff. First of all, they released the album Fallen Idols. Fallen Idols is a pretty good album in my opinion. Like first of all, it starts with United Welcome Back, and it's hard and energetic and quite fast, but yet heavy. Loving the use of the guitar solos throughout this song. It's a finely calibrated song as well. It's a well accomplished album overall, but it focuses on many different themes as well. It sounds fresh and grandiose at times, but ideally it is really putting out a statement saying we are still here, we are still heavy as anything. We get some really cool and heavy songs as well. Loving the guitar riffs throughout this album, along with his vocals. His vocals are unbelievable in this. Loving his operatic vocals at times and his high falsetto. But overall, this is a power metal based album, I would say. So at times they incorporate some different subgenres as well. Probably the heaviest song on the album is Chaos Raining, with an amazing guitar riff. Very funky, very cool guitar riff. But then you get a bit of a breather on track 7, Counting Down the Hours. A very melodic song. You could say it's sort of maybe a ballad, but it's still quite heavy. But it gives you a break from all this heaviness. And then it leads on to The Edge of the World, which I believe is probably the heaviest on the album, and it incorporates some harsh, aggressive vocals as well, and including a few blast beats. And at times there are some death metal elements, at times there's also some power metal elements. All these choruses on this album are quite sing-alongable, and they're quite catchy and melodic. They have some really great soaring choruses. I love how they're using a little bit of synthetics in the songs as well, incorporating choir throughout Kill or Be Killed, and an amazing closer in Master of Darkness. Yeah, this album is a pretty good album in my opinion, and I would say that you go ahead and listen to it. Link will be in the description as well to check out this Lord album. It's a fantastic album. It's around 56 minutes, and the songs go average of around 5 minutes. The longest song is the last song, which is Master of Darkness, and that is a really tight and cohesive song. All this album is really focused, but yet passionate, and it's very percussion soaked. Like the drums and the mix and the overall layering in this is fantastic production. Strikingly brilliant, and I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Yeah, this was a fantastic album. A really fast, energetic, bold and breathtaking album at times, but yet ambitious as well. But at times it's very stylistic as well. But also, they are very talented because you get amazing guitar solos throughout some of these songs, well, most of the songs. But my favorite on the album would probably be Counting Down the Hours. I love that song, it is fantastic. But Immortal and Fallen Idols is an amazing song as well. Nod to the Old School, fantastic, along with Chaos Raining. So those are my favorite songs. This album will get you wanting to listen to more of this band, because damn, this is a fantastic album and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Alright guys, so the next album I checked out was Carnifex, and their album World War X. Alright, so here's a problem with Carnifex. This is the first album I checked out from Carnifex, and they're death metal, deathcore. So they're on the borderline of death metal, deathcore. Okay, so World War X, the song was fantastic. Loving the grittiness, hard aggression of the guitars, his vocals were excellent. Like, this was a great starter to the album. Visions of the End was a good song. This Infernal Darkness, and The Eyes of the Executioner. But then that stops. It just stops then. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys that I really enjoyed the first half of the album, and the second half it went bleh, because it was the same repetitive stuff on this album. How many times do you need to repeat a breakdown? Throughout some of these songs, there are unnecessary breakdowns, there are unnecessary stop and starts, there were some cool moments, but seriously, it would sound like I was listening to one friggin' song. I'm so glad it ended. I'm so glad it ended shortly. It's around 35 minutes. But damn it, it's, to me, this is a very disappointing album. A very disappointing album. His vocals are good. No Light Shall Save Us featuring Lisa Glues is a fantastic song, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. But the World War X, Visions of the End, This Infernal Darkness, and Eyes of the Executioner, great songs, but you can go All Roads Lead to Hell, Brushed by the Wings of Demons, Hail Hellfire, and By Shadows Thine Held. Yeah, it's the same old stuff that we heard from the previous few songs, and it gets boring. This album gets boring, and I gotta be brutally honest, it gets boring, and I kind of wish that the album would stop. I've listened to it 2 times. I can't listen to the 3rd time, to be honest, because it's basically the same old breakdowns, the same old thing. It's just repetitive. This album is repetitive. They could do something a little bit different, change the riffs up, change the different timing, but it's just the same thing. One thing I can say is his vocals. His vocals are very good. He's got that harsh aggressive vocals and the deathcore vocals as well. But one good thing is I love how they incorporate a little bit of deathcore and a little bit of death metal throughout the song, but at times there are some elements that are metalcore as well, especially the breakdowns. Like, they're really experimenting throughout this album as well. But yeah, really predictable breakdowns are very generic. To me, it's generic. It's a generic deathcore album, and I'm giving this a 4 out of 10. One thing I will commend Carnifex is their atmosphere. They provide this atmosphere which is fantastic throughout some of these songs. And damn, it feels so evil, especially as No Light Shall Save Us, especially quite evil, fearing, very atmospheric. But from then, they're very good at creating atmosphere, this band, and at times it's piercing to your ears in a good way. But yet, I'm gonna say that World War X is probably the catchiest song. My favorite song from this album would probably be World War X and No Light Shall Save Us. And from then, that's about it, to be honest. So Narnia released a new album this week called From Darkness to Light. A very enjoyable album in my opinion, really good. This was the first ever Narnia album I listened to, and I discovered it through Apple Music, and I said, oh, we're going to check these guys out. They are fantastic. This is a great album in my opinion. I absolutely love it. So Narnia is a band from Sweden. They're a Swedish band. To me, with the lyrics, I think they're Christian metal. I'm going to say they're Christian metal because they talk a bit about Jesus and everything like that. But they incorporate some neoclassical elements as well, which is fantastic. I absolutely love how bands do that. But really, they're also quite progressive. And this album, From Darkness to Light, is a fascinating album in my opinion. A Crack in the Sky is an amazing song. You Are the Air That I Breathe is an amazing song as well. There's some really tasty guitar solos throughout this song. But his vocals are starring throughout the songs as well. The vocalist Christian, absolute stars in this, really stars. He's got a wonderful voice. From then, it's got some really cool, catchy melodic choruses. It does. Loving the guitar solos. Really nice keyboards as well throughout. It creates this atmosphere. This album's well focused. It's quite fresh. Sounds fresh, but at times it sounds like it's from the 90s or something like that. But they managed to keep it fresh. Feels heartfelt, especially the song The Wolf at Torva Land. That is such a beautiful song, and it's a nice little rest from all the all the craziness from this album. The Water Toward the Land is such a beautiful song, especially that conclusion when everyone's saying hallelujah, amen. Oh, that is such a beautiful moment of the album. It's very heartfelt. It's quite melodic, and I absolutely love that part. I love that. Then goes to Sail On, I Will Follow, and this 2-part song, which is an absolute epic, about 8 minutes. Oh wow, it's tasty. It's a very tasty song. But overall, From Darkness to Light, a very enjoyable album, and I love the harmonics throughout. At times it's poetic, but it's also quite. I'm loving the drums throughout this album as well. The mixing overall sounds fantastic. Like, you wouldn't think this is from 2019, to be honest. The way they provide this amazing layering throughout this album. There's a nice different styles. The lyrics overall are pretty strong and tells a story as well. Nice elements of Christian along with inspirational rock as well. Metal, incorporating a few metal elements along with neoclassical elements as well, along with the keyboards and the guitar solos, neoclassical guitar solos. Overall, it's a fantastic album. I really did enjoy it. So with this, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. A 7, I'm probably going to give it a 7.5, but a solid 7. I don't think it's as good as Lord's Fallen Idols, but it's right up there. Alright guys, so the last album we are going to talk about is the band Northlane and their album Alien. So Northlane are an Australian metalcore band. They have made some really good albums in the past, but I was a bit reluctant in actually checking this one out. But god damn it, I'm so glad I did, because holy shit, this is a fucking pearler. It is. You know what, Northlane experimented on this album, and god damn it, it paid off with songs like Details Matters and Gin and Eclipse, which sort of a ravey sort of dancing feel to the song. But my god, it tells the story of the lead singer, I believe Marcus, who is now the lead singer of Northlane. I think he was a replacement for Adrian. I'm not too sure, I think he was. But I've seen Northlane about 4 times. I really enjoy their music. But yeah, so this is all about Marcus. Amazing ride, this album. It is absolutely amazing, because you could say this is a concept album. The story starts off, so Details Matters, I believe, is nothing about the actual story of what Marcus is going to tell. But then it leads on the bloodline, with the bombastic guitars and electric elements along with the drums. This is a really cool song. It's very different, and then it leads on to 4D. There's definitely a struggle. I think the lyrics are saying that Marcus was really struggling in his childhood. It leads on to Talking Heads, and I love the vocal effects throughout that song as well. It's all signaling about anxiety and all the voices in the back of your head. It leads on to Freefall. This song is really raw, but it's also very experimental. Reading the lyrics, I think it's basically about Marcus's parents and maybe the actual trauma Marcus experienced throughout his childhood with his parents. Leads on to Gin. Yeah, this song's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Loving how heavy this song is, but also incorporating that really experimental style as well. It leads on to then Eclipse. This is a really interesting metalcore song that I really never thought I would hear. Like, this is sort of a new wave of metalcore here, and this is fantastic. I mean, they incorporate these electronic elements along with a dancing vibing beat as well. You think you're not listening to a metalcore song, but you are. And the pure emotion Marcus delivers throughout this song with his vocals are just heartbreaking, in my opinion. It is just heartbreaking. The feeling of the song sounds like a 4 to the floor party dance song. That's what it sounds like. But yeah, there's a lot of frustration building within him in this song. I believe this is all about his dad as well. But overall, the lyrics in this album are so damn strong. If you listen to this album, yeah, you'll start to fall in love. You read the lyrics as well. It's a whole story. It's basically a whole story of what Marcus has been through throughout this terrible childhood he's had. Leads on to Riff, which is an absolutely awesome song. Paradigm's fantastic. throughout most of this album, After Eclipse, Rift, Paradigm, Vultures, all fantastic songs. It's heavy, it's gritty. I'm gonna say Vultures is probably the heaviest song on the album, but then it leads to Sleepless, a really soft, slow song. I think this is all about Marcus's sister and everything like that, and how she was on drugs, and how Marcus's mother did nothing to stop her from being an addict. And yeah, an absolutely incredible album this was. Yeah, so with Northlane's Alien, I am probably going to give it a solid 9 because this was a fantastic album. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of the best albums Northlane have put out. And damn, you really get to know the vocalist of Marcus of Northlane as well. But yeah, it was such an enjoyable album. So I'm gonna say that this week of releases has been just fantastic. Narnia was great. Northlane was fantastic. Carnifex was yeah, that was my least favorite. And Lord was just terrific as well. There's a whole lot more newly releases that I didn't get time to check out. But out of the 4 releases I checked out, I'd probably have to say Northlane was my favorite album, because this is after repeated listens, and Narnia is fantastic as well. Lord is magnificent. Carnifex, I only listened to it twice, but Lord, Narnia, and Northlane are repetitive listens. They are, because in Northlane you get to, not only that, in Northlane you get to explore some more stuff on this album as well and understand the story. Narnia, it's such an awesome album that you need to listen to it over and over again. But Lord, oh wow, repetitive listens. I've listened to this album probably about 6 times. Absolutely love it. Yeah, so guys, that's where I leave you for this episode of Review Nation. You know what, every week I will probably put out an episode of the albums I heard recently, that have just dropped. And this is a fun way to also get you involved with the new albums as well and try to explore. So links in the description will be below if you want to check out all the albums. And yeah, so enjoy the metal, guys, because there is so much out there. Next week, Slipknot releases their newly released album. I'm definitely going to do a full review. Of that album once it comes out. Honestly, I cannot wait, but I know that I'm going to listen to this countless times, absolute countless times, but what I do know is there are a few interludes on this album, which I'm a little bit worried about. But you know what, Soulwave Firth and Unsainted have just been fantastic songs so far, and honestly, I cannot wait. But I do believe that this album is going to be a very heavy album. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. I've already pre-ordered the shirt, I've already pre-ordered the album, so I am friggin' excited. So let's do it. Guys, I hope you did enjoy this episode of Review Nation. So there'll be I'll probably release another episode of Review Nation with a Nightwish song review as well throughout this week, and full album review with Arch Enemy's album review later on this week as well, as this is one of our Patreon requests. So guys, I hope you did enjoy it. So comment below what you thought about this formatted speedy review episode, and also if you have heard these albums, do you agree or disagree with my opinion? Subscribe if you want. Keep the discussion going in the comment section below. I just love comments, guys. Just comment down below. Comment whatever. Subscribe if you want. And I will see you in the next one.